Today's podcast is brought to you by a company who we have been using for years and takes up significant shelf space inside of our own kitchen. Biosteel Sports Nutrition.
It was a product created out of necessity 8 years ago and is trusted by athletes like Connor McDavid, Tyler Seguin, Brooke Henderson, Rosie MacLennan, and Andrew Wiggins.
They're really a leader in sports drinks for everyone from professional athletes to everyday champions.
Understand something, guys. Nothing worth ever having in this world comes easy.
Do what these champions doing if you're going to be a champion.
You control your outcome.
Who am I?
I'm a champion.
What up, champions, and welcome back to a brand new Biosteel breakdown. As always, I'm your host, Adrian. I'm here with my co-host,
Sylvie.
And we're back breaking down a brand new topic: health, wellness, mindset, nutrition, the whole deal. If it's your first time, welcome. If you're a long-time listener, we appreciate the loyalty, and we appreciate you coming back every single week for a brand new nugget. So yeah, should we hop into it?
Let's hop into it.
Today, we are talking about 3 ways of training that you should incorporate or explore that are outside of the traditional norms. And we get locked into this idea that we have to go to the gym, and that we have to lift weights, and then we have to run on the treadmill, and then we have to use the elliptical machine, and then we have to use the bike. And so we become robotic about it, and we have no fun in the gym at all because we feel obligated to go and do these things. Like, oh, I'm just going to go in and do 20 minutes of cardio and 40 minutes of free weights and go home. And then we get no results because we're not invested in it. We're not emotionally invested in it. We just don't even like being there. We go through the motions. We spend more time checking Instagram while we're at the gym than we do focusing on our workout. And so today I want to talk about 3 training methods that I think you should explore and you should put into your training to break up that monotony and to get awesome results. The first one is body weight / gymnastic style training. And when I say this, I don't mean you have to hop on a trampoline and become Rosie MacLennan and hit double backflips. And
sounds amazing, though.
Right. And just become this amazing Olympic athlete. That's not what I'm saying. If you can't manipulate and move your own body weight within space, then I think you've already failed at movement. And all that strength training is a different form of movement. So we're trying to optimize how well we move. And so if I can think about this, if I can do bicep curls and a bench press, but I can't get down and do a push-up, or I can't get down and do a bear crawl, or I can't do a Spider-Man crawl, I can't really move my body. I'm extremely limited. It's like having a car that doesn't turn left or right. You can only go straight. That's great if you're only going to drag race, but ultimately we're trying to get around and get groceries. So my first suggestion is to explore body weight and gymnastic style training. And there is a bunch of different platforms online you can go and take a look at. Different companies have put out different products, but just get back to those basics of moving your body. You can do push-ups, you can squat, you can lunge, you can crawl. You can do planks. You can add some sort of suspension element and do rows or pull-ups. Rings, stuff that requires you to move your own body. And you'll be amazed at how strong you can get. And that's one of the reasons why I love jiu-jitsu. I know I rave about jiu-jitsu a lot on the podcast, but I love it because it's an aspect of body weight and gymnastic training. I'm using my body and I'm using my partner's body. And that's the only form of resistance. And I know guys that are freakishly strong from only that and have this amazing ability to move and manipulate and know where they are in space and gain this proprioception. And so that's my first suggestion: body weight, gymnastics movements.
What's number 2?
Number two is hiking. Number 2 is to find a hill. And you can do this in a bunch of different ways, but we're so caught up in our traditional sources of cardio, like we talked about earlier, in our biking or walking on a treadmill or elliptical. Or I saw another new one this week. Oh my God. This thing it had feet turning in like kind of pigeon-toed, like an elliptical, but instead of going forward and back, you went side to side, like swiveling your hips. Like you looked like Kung Fu Panda walking up the hill. It was the most outrageous piece of equipment.
It's a new one.
And so let's get away from that and let's get outside. And this is awesome because it pairs that exercise with some nature, which is super neat.
We're going to break that down in the future. Stay tuned.
Exactly. And so go find a hill, preferably a longer hill, and you can walk up a mountain, do a nice long hike. If you want to add some difficulty to it, throw some weight on your back. That's an amazing workout. Throw 45, 50 pounds on your back in a backpack. You can do it however you want.
Just cans. Or
Yeah. There's actually,
goods.
there's a company that makes a backpack harness that you can put the weight on. It's got like a barbell attachment essentially, and you can put a plate on it and then screw it on. Nice. I mean, that's a little excessive, but literally
throw a kettlebell in
put
there.
anything. If you have a kid, throw the kid on your back, just take it for a walk, whatever you want.
Take it.
Yeah, take the thing for a walk. But yeah, go up the hill, lunge up the hill. You can do sprints up the hill if you want to do a higher intensity day.
You can do some multi-directional stuff.
You can bound, you can crawl, whatever you want to do. It's an amazing tool. And it kind of matches our first topic about body weight and gymnastics. Just use things that are around you all the time. I would suggest that for everyone listening, we could probably use more time low and slow than hill sprint versions, but they both have great benefits, and they're both a new modality outside of what you do all the time, and they get you outside in nature with some oxygen and some trees. So that's number 2. Number 1, body weight. Number 2, hiking.
What's number 3?
Number 3 is farm days. And this doesn't mean you actually have to go to the farm, but if you saw the videos that we posted a couple of months ago, we had an amazing day at the farm, and then we actually had Thunder Ridge on the podcast. But what I think is awesome is they did a study looking at who the healthiest people in the world were, who the fittest people in the world were. And fitness should refer to long-term health, not just how athletic you are. The high-performance athletics are not good for your long-term health. Let's be perfectly clear. Fist fighting someone in a cage is not good for your long-term health. It's an amazing thing to do, and it's a lot of fun. But if you were looking at being the most complete holistic person, that's not the option. Becoming an Olympic athlete, the same thing. It's a lot of stress on your body. The people that are the fittest are farmers and gardeners.
Farm strong.
Farmers and gardeners, because they lift moderate loads for long periods throughout the day. They're often on their feet, standing, sitting, standing, lunging, standing, crawling, working with their hands, working in front of their body, picking things up, moving them around. And so my suggestion is to do some sort of farm day in your workout, which means you're pushing.
Get into the garden.
Exactly. It means you're
Your
aggressively
mom is
weeding.
on top of this.
I know. It means that you're pushing something, you're pulling something, you're carrying something. You're doing it in different ways. And so if that's at a gym with a sled and some sandbags, or I don't know, like an Atlas stone, whatever it is, but it's getting outside of your traditional patterns and doing different things with it. So push, pull, carry, move around. If you know who Dan John is, he's maybe a pioneer, one of the pioneers of strength and conditioning. He talks about that all the time, and I think it's really, really important. So those are the 3 suggestions, things you need to put into your workouts, and they're fun, which is important, because if you're not having fun and you're not excited to be there, you're not going to come back. And nor should you, because it's boring.
Yeah,
quite
movement
frankly.
should always be fun.
Exactly. So let's add some body weight or gymnastic type exercises. Let's add some hiking and or hill work, and let's have some sort of farm day. And those are the suggestions for this week, guys. 3 types of training that you need to incorporate and you're probably not doing.
Love
Sounds
it.
good? As always, head over to Biosteel, use the code word
Champ Lifestyle, capital C, capital L.
You're so good at saying that. Probably the best. And you can get 15% off your very next order. You know, when you're out climbing up the hill, you might want a little bit of recovery drink. So
absolutely
get some. We appreciate you being here. We appreciate you listening. If you like the episode, please share it with your friends and let us know what you want to hear. That's a wrap, right?
That's it.
Have a great week, guys, and we'll see you next Friday.